Numbers don't lie, numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie, numbers don't lie. I got this you can't buy. Numbers don't lie, numbers don't lie.
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah, man. Welcome to episode 3 of the Crimson Mass Show Red. I am your host, MFG Deez. And as you can see, our setting is a little bit different this week. That's because I am currently out of town. But I'm still bringing you the same great content. So what do you guys say? Shall we get started? First things first, Monday Night Raw. We're going to start out with the feud between Gunther and Damien Priest. And nothing changed this week. Nothing changed this week from last week. Gunther was still on that disrespect. He came out. He continued to call Priest, and for that matter, fans, bums. He called us all bums, man. And you know, Pat McAfee has been calling him a bum, so I guess he said two could play at that game. He called us some bums, man. But he was out there talking that trash. He basically, for lack of a better word, called Damien Priest a paper champ. He said that he can't even handle the weight of that title, of that great prestigious title. Damien Priest couldn't handle the weight of it. He also called Judgment Day street trash as a whole. So not only is Damien Priest street trash, apparently Rhea Ripley, Finn Balor, Dominik Mysterio, JD McDonough, and I guess Carlito too, since Carlito is rolling with him, they're all street trash in the eyes of Gunther. And he wanted Priest to come to the ring, and he wanted Priest to just hand him the World Heavyweight title. Obviously, we've all been watching wrestling long enough to know that Damien Priest was not walking down to the ring. He was not going to be handing Mr. Gunther the ring general, the king general. He was not going to be handing him the title. Not that Monday. And all he handed him was a beatdown. He punched Gunther straight in his mouth, knocked Gunther to the ground, and those guys brawled into the commercial break, back from the commercial break, back of the arena, out of the arena. Priest and Gunther were not seen. Gunther was seen later in the evening, you know, doing a little hype promotion. But yeah, Priest, he was gone from the arena. And that's pretty much it. This storyline, I wish that this level of physicality was demonstrated, or this intensity in this feud was demonstrated the minute that we seen it. He should have called him street trash from day one. This brawl should have happened 1 or 2 weeks ago, and we should have just that night should have been like more of a beatdown of one of the performers, instead of a brawl that was broken up. Whatever the case may be, Adam Pearce, I'm pretty sure that's when he started getting drunk once that happened. This storyline is going pretty good. I like this storyline. I think that there's a close to 0% chance that Damien Priest walks out of SummerSlam as the World Heavyweight Champion. It's all set in stone. I think Gunther's going to take that title, and I think Gunther's going to defend that title in Germany. Can't remember what the Premium Live event is going to be when he goes to Germany, but that's what I think is going to happen. Bron Breakker, Sami Zayn, Ilya Dragunov. We could call this a 3-way feud, 2-way feud. We're going to find out because we had a number 1 contenders match between Bron Breakker and Dragunov. It was a very physical match. And in the beginning, Ilya Dragunov was able to keep up. He was able to demonstrate that level of physicality that we've all grown accustomed to when he's wrestling. But it wasn't enough. He got speared jumping off the apron. I think he was trying to perform an H-bomb and got speared while doing it. And not only was he wasn't counted out, ladies and gentlemen, he was just straight up disqualified from the match, not because he did something wrong, but because the referee said that he could no longer continue. Bron gave him a little taunt to his face. And you would have thought that would have been the last we seen of Bron that night, but no. That was not the last we seen of him. What we got next, though, was Sami Zayn backstage. He was talking about, hey, Bron, you better not take me light like you did the last time we fought at Money in the Bank, because if you do, you're not going to get this title again. I don't think Sami Zayn should be giving Bron advice on what he needs to do to take his title. That's just me. But either way it goes, Sami said, I'm not taking you light. Don't take me light or it's going to be a mistake. So I don't know if Sami took him light or not, but because Sami Zayn wanted to interfere in other people's business, and we'll get to that next, because he wanted to interfere in other people's business, at the end of the night, at the end of the main event, what did he get? A spear straight to the gut, courtesy of Bron Breakker. And that's what happens. You took your eye off your opponent, trying to help your friends, and look what happened. Bow. Smack dab in the middle of the ring. Spear. Sami Zayn rolling over in pain. I like the way this feud is going. I might do a prediction show next week. We'll see. I'll do some kind of show. I might skip episode 4 of the Crimson Mask show. We might do a prediction show instead, and a SummerSlam show. We shall see. But I think that it's pretty easy to see that the most likely outcome in SummerSlam is going to be Bron Breakker winning the rematch with Sami Zayn and walking out of SummerSlam as your new Intercontinental Champion. All the momentum was with Bron. He's starting to settle into his new entrance music. He's continuing to dominate guys left and right. And I don't think that's going to change at SummerSlam. I think he's learned from what happened last time he faced Sami Zayn. I think this time he's going to put it into application. He's going to put it into the works and actually get the title away from Sami Zayn. Rhea Ripley, Dominik Mysterio, Liv Morgan, and like I say every week, the love triangle continues. This time we had Dominik. He's walking up to Rhea. Hey, mommy, I don't really like what I seen with you and Jay on Instagram. And Rhea said, boy, don't worry about that. I'm just playing around. It's just Jey Uso. I'm playing around. But what about you and Liv, though? Because, that's what happens when you try to get in an argument with your girlfriend. Don't think you just going to get your shots off and that's going to be that. No, she's always going to have some kind of receipt that she's going to pull up in front of you. And she said, yeah, that's kind of messy. But you know what else was messy? What you was doing with Liv while I was out injured at home when you weren't with me, even though we know Buddy Matthews was over there with her. But while kayfabe, he wasn't with her. You know what I'm saying? But that's pretty much how that went. Finn interjected, saying that, Dominik, you know what we need to do? We need to go whoop Jay's ass. We need to whoop his ass up and down this arena, out of this building. And then Rhea said, why are we messing with Jay? Why are we messing with Jay? Jay didn't do anything. We don't need to start a war with Jey Uso. That's what she said. And then Finn's like, are you defending Jey Uso? And rightfully so, because that's exactly what it sounded like. Okay, first you're flirting with the guy on Instagram. Now you're sitting up here defending us, telling us that we should not whoop his ass. So, I mean, that's something to keep an eye on going forward, especially if my prediction comes true that Dominik is going to screw Rhea Ripley over. That's something to look at. Sami Zayn. Speaking of Sami Zayn, getting in people's business, like I hinted at in the last little talking point. Sami Zayn overheard during his interview where he told Bron that he better keep an eye out for him. He overheard Jey Uso getting beat down by Carlito and JD McDonough. First of all, why is Jey Uso even getting beat down by Carlito and JD McDonough? But that's besides the point. Anyway, Sami Zayn goes over there. He doesn't mind his business. He interferes. He helps Jey Uso, who's his old friend from the bloodline. Okay. And so that sets up a match because Finn got pissed. That later set up a match where Finn and JD McDonough were going to face Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. Next we get, we also get, and I forgot, I skipped over this part. We get a little scene where Dominik's walking backstage and Liv Morgan's just like hiding in the cut. What is she doing there? I don't know. But she's hiding in the cut. And she's like, psst, hey, Dom. Psst, hey, Dom. Come here, Dom. And Dom's like, oh my God, no, I'm trying to get back with my girl. What are you doing? You messing things up. What are you doing, Liv? I can't be talking to you. And so Liv's like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It's all right if you talk to me. It's all right. And then Finn catches them, and Finn's like, oh, hell no. What's going on here? This conversation's over. She's like, okay, I'm going by. And he's like, nah, man, you going this way. You going that way. So I thought that was funny. But wasn't funny. What wasn't funny, at least for Liv Morgan, is what happened later in the night when Rhea Ripley, when Mommy dragged Dominik to the ring, and I mean, she was punking him, ladies and gentlemen. She was punking his ass. She came out with him. She was pushing him down the ramp, pushing him. Get your ass up there. Get your ass up there. They get to the ring. Then she like, you want him? You come get him. She push him forward. He's sitting there like, So she talking her stuff. Liv Morgan comes out. To sum it up, Liv, she's yapping and yapping and yapping. And she turns around, puts a butt to the camera and says, men like Dominik want a woman like me. They don't want a woman like you. And Rhea Ripley, she's finna tear her freaking part, man. She get out the ring. Dominik, Rhea's like, let me go. Let me go. And then Dominik's like, Mommy, I got it. I got it. I got it. And then Dominik got up there. He basically just started ripping her. English, Spanish, like both languages, bilingual rips Liv Morgan, and Liv Morgan walks away crying. And you know what, y'all? I'm gonna be honest. Call me a sucker if you want to. You can call me a sucker. That's okay. Call me a sucker. I felt bad for Liv, man. I felt bad for her. I don't like to see beautiful women crying like that. And Liv Morgan's a beautiful woman, and she sure was crying. And she's crocodile tears. They weren't real tears, but man, I felt bad for her. That said, it's all a fucking setup. It's all a setup. Dominik's gonna screw Rhea Ripley, and then he's gonna kayfabe screw Liv Morgan, and that's just how it's gonna go down. More than likely, this is all an act to help Liv keep the title around her waist. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. SummerSlam, stay tuned. CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins. The storyline gift that just keeps on giving. This shit was good too. Punk came out. Punk is like, look, man, I'm clear. Drew, what you want to do? You was talking that stuff. What you want to do now? What you want to do, Drew? What you want to do, dog? Drew comes out trolling, where he's become the master of. He comes out trolling. He's like, man, I'll miss you. I'll whoop your ass if I felt like it. But I don't feel like it, so. And then CM Punk's like, I feel like it. CM Punk tries to get him, and of course, on cue, they send out a sea of refs, a sea of backstage personnel. Adam Pearce, they're standing in between the two. And while CM Punk's being blocked, Drew takes out the little bracelet with his dog's name and AJ Lee's name on it. He's like, yeah, I look to family when I need a little support, and just trolling. And, he thought everything was funny until, Seth freaking Rollins comes out, laughs right in his fucking face. And Drew couldn't be more shocked. Because what is Seth Rollins doing there? Well, what Seth Rollins is doing there, Seth Rollins came out, and long story short, he told CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, I'm refereeing this match. I'm going to referee it. And, I can't imagine either one of them would be too happy about that. But here's my question. In a match refed by Seth Rollins, CM Punk. No, sorry. In a match refed by Seth Rollins with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, who is going to be the one that accidentally hits Seth Rollins and causes Seth Rollins to hit them? How I see this going down, since Drew McIntyre is always the one that gets screwed over, how I see this going down is this. Some way, shape, or form, CM Punk is going to cause Drew McIntyre to inadvertently hit Seth Rollins. And in retaliation, Seth Rollins is going to do something to cause Drew McIntyre to lose this match. This is going to somehow end up being a triple threat match between these three in the future, but that's what's going to happen. It's not out of the realm of possibility for things to be reversed and Drew McIntyre causes CM Punk to inadvertently hit Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins retaliates. Drew McIntyre wins. Or it's a double where CM Punk or Drew McIntyre inadvertently cause the other to hit Seth Rollins. In an attempt at retaliation on the person that hits him, he actually hits the person that restarted. This could go a few different ways. If I had to pick, I would say CM Punk wins if I had to pick, but I wouldn't be surprised if something happens that causes CM Punk to lose and causes CM Punk to blame Seth Rollins for the loss. Okay, I just want to address this real quick because typically this segment wouldn't even be on here, but I feel the need to explain because I have to. Okay, so as you guys may know or not know, I like to do shorts called Fire Mid Trash. Okay. In my shorts, it's the same thing as keep, trade, cut, or date, marry, the other thing. And I have to pick one, guys. I have to pick one. I have to pick one thing that's fire, one thing that's mid. Does it mean that it sucks because it's mid? No, it just means that it was okay. And I have to pick one thing that's trash. It doesn't mean that, oh, I hate this. It doesn't mean I hate the wrestlers involved in the match. It doesn't mean that I hate the match. It means that out of the other things I've seen on the show, that particular thing is what disconnected with me the most. So the reason I say that is because Fire Mid Trash short, and the trash short was the Final Testament versus Xavier Woods and Alpha Academy. And I'm sorry, I don't live in a world of participation trophies. Yes, the match was good. Yes, the performers. I respect everything they do in the ring. I can't do it. I respect everything they can do in the ring. However, if you want to stare at me with a straight face, look me dead in my eyes and tell me that storyline is good, because I specify in the short that I'm referring to the feud between the Final Testament and Xavier Woods / the New Day. That feud is not good. It has not been good. That could be because Kofi got injured and they had to kind of semi-scrap the storyline or whatever the case may be. But out of the other things I've seen on Monday Night Raw, and I always think storyline first instead of match first, that helps me differentiate between WWE and some of the stuff they do in the AEW. If I thought so much, okay, let me think match first before storyline first, then AEW will have a significant leg up on WWE just by the sense that they have matches that are entertaining. Does it always psychologically make sense? No, but they're more entertaining. So I always think about the storyline first, because at the end of the day, the storylines is what keeps fans connected and what keeps fans watching the show. That storyline, Final Testament, Xavier Woods, New Day, has not been good. Have the matches between them been good? They've been okay. Are the performers in the match good? I like freaking Xavier Woods, New Day, like him. Otis, love the guy. Now, when you get to the Final Testament, I like Razor and Axiom. I mean, don't know much about Karrion Kross, but yeah, guys, come on. Let's Fire Mid Trash. Got to pick one of each. Shaemus, Pete Dunne. Shaemus interrupted the match between Pete Dunne and Bronson Reed. And then he attacked Pete Dunne in the backstage interview. I think Jackie Redden was doing the interview. He challenged Pete Dunne. He said, hey, we can either drink or we can fight. Which one you want to do? I don't know exactly where they're going with the story. I don't know exactly where they're going with Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne is fighting a war on two fronts right now. We'll talk about the other front later, but this front is Shaemus. And this was okay. Not too much to say about it. We kind of just waiting to see approach. I don't know how far they're going to go with this Pete Dunne thing versus Shaemus. I feel like they should put him over. Shaemus is Teflon. Him losing a feud to Pete Dunne isn't going to kill him. NXT. I'm going to blaze through NXT, man. I'm on vacation, man. I ain't trying to sit and do this with y'all all day. You know what I'm saying? All right. NXT. Trick is setting the order of the brothers. What I mean by that, Trick was beefing with Ashanti the Adonis. Trick was beefing with Cedric Alexander. You know, Trick was setting that pecking order. He like, look, man, I'm top dog up in here. I'm top dog in this piece. And that's what he did. Cedric Alexander, I don't know what advice Cedric Alexander was trying to give Trick, by the way. I have no clue what exactly Cedric was trying to advise Trick to do. But whatever it was, Trick wasn't listening. And Ashanti the Adonis basically was coming out saying, yeah, man, Trick don't listen, man. Trick this, Trick that. Got knocked out, got punched right in his mouth by Trick. I don't know if that's Ashanti the Adonis' new gimmick is where he talks too much and get knocked out, but that seems to be what's going on here. That led to a match later in the night. Cedric Alexander versus Trick Williams. Trick won, of course, and he got attacked by Pete Dunne after the match. Like I said a few minutes ago, I don't know exactly what's going on with Pete Dunne, but he's everywhere right now. He's attacking everybody from behind. Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs, they had a physical match. The thing that stood out to me the most about this match is that Brooks Jensen was wearing like some right to censor attire as he was fighting Josh Briggs. He did get the win against Josh Briggs with assistance from Sean Spears. So we'll see where they're going to go with this storyline. Let's see what they do with Sean Spears. Feels like he hasn't done anything or accomplished anything since he's been back to NXT. So we'll see. Maybe Brooks Jensen will be the first guy to listen to him. Lexis King, he just keeps on losing matches. This time he lost to Eddie Thorpe. I don't know what's going on with Lexis King. Yes, I understand that the post-match beatdown was won by Lexis King, but right now Lexis King is turning into one of those guys that talks big and then goes out and loses matches, and I feel like he is falling lower and lower and lower, and I hope that they could do something to turn around because the idea of a Brian Pillman Jr. in WWE seems like a good one. They just have to get it turned around. Ethan Page or Mensa. Ethan Page's title run is starting off real lackluster. Part of it is because I think outside of Trick Williams and Obafemi, I just don't see the long list of challengers and strong contenders for that NXT title that there were in the past. They need to inject some new talent. They either need to build up some new talent or bring in some new talent from other companies or the indies and bring them in to boost up NXT. Now you could kind of really see why they want Joe Hendry so bad, because they honestly need it. And I really hope that they get Ricky Starks, because that'll also boost them. Because right now it just seems like it's a 2-horse race, and then right under those 2 horses, which would be Trick Williams and Obafemi, you got Ethan Page. Ethan Page has to resort to fight Ora Mensa, a guy who was like the 4th wheel in Metaphor. So I don't necessarily get what's going on. Of course, they fed Ashanti the Adonis to Ora Mensa on NXT, because what else can we say about Ora Mensa fighting Ethan Page? Like, I'm not even sure how he's even getting a title shot. Joe Hendry is going to be doing a concert on NXT this upcoming week. That's going to be exciting. He continues to get buzz. I was talking to PD Stunt. I don't know how at this point that TNA isn't worried that WWE is going to find a way to take away Joe Hendry, going to find a way to take away Jordan Grace and then end the relationship between the two companies, I would definitely be looking at that happen brand for WWE. Rascalz versus Javon Evans, Axiom, and Nathan Frazier. You guys know how I feel about Axiom. I don't like him. This was a very high-flying and athletic match. Obviously, with the names I just gave you, that is what you were going to get. This match was probably an AEW fan's wet dream. Guys were just flying around, doing moves. The match is exciting. You stay glued to your scene. The Rascalz, man, are very good together. And I do not look forward to the day where the TNA NXT relationship ends and those guys can be together. I want those guys to stay together as long as humanly possible because they work very well together. And I think it'll be dope. Smackdown. I swear, y'all, not too much happened on Smackdown. Not too much at all. You had LA Knight versus Santos Escobar. That was a pretty damn decent match. After the match, unfortunately for LA Knight, he was attacked by Santos Escobar and Logan Paul. I'll tell you right now, gut feeling, LA Knight is finally going to get to walk out of SummerSlam with that United States title. It's time. If LA Knight, and I've said this, I think I said this last week, if LA Knight does not win the United States title, I'm very concerned about the future of LA Knight because he could tumble down the card if he doesn't win this match. It's time. Logan had a nice run with that title. You cannot hate on anything Logan does. Logan can afford to lose that title. He'll rise right back up like the Phoenix, but him losing in his hometown in front of his family, his friends, I think that will lead to very good character development for Logan Paul. So he needs to go ahead and lose that match. Number one contenders tag gauntlet. Okay. So I'm going to go through a few problems I had with this match and a few things I liked. Problem number one. Initially, when I seen that the members of the bloodline who were going to be involved in that match were going to be Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu, I was like, no, dude, no. It needs to be the Gorillas of Destiny. It needs to be Tama Tonga and Tongaloa, but apparently Tongaloa is injured, so Jacob Fatu stepped in. But if they happen to take the titles from DIY, I really do hope that, I'm getting ahead of myself, by the way. I do hope that they let Tama Tonga and Tongaloa be the tag champions of that stable. But before we get into all that, I spoiled who's going to win the match, but I'm sure by now you guys already knew. Street Profits did very well in the match. I think they went the entire way from beginning to end until they faced the Bloodline. I do not like what they're doing with Pretty Deadly because Pretty Deadly should always be at the top or near the top of the tag division, either holding the titles or contending for the titles. And that's part of why I really hope that if the Bloodline wins the tag titles, that is Tama Tonga and Tongaloa, a certified world-renowned tag team in professional wrestling. I don't want to see Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu because Jacob Fatu, I have bigger designs for Jacob Fatu. They clearly have bigger designs for Jacob Fatu. And the tag team titles ain't it. But Tama Tonga and Tongaloa in a tag division, they can be special as a tag team. Just as special as Jacob Fatu can be as a singles wrestler. So, no, we don't need, soon as Tongaloa is ready to go, he needs to be the one fighting for those tag titles. Main event time. Bayley and Michin, because it was only 3 matches on the show, ladies and gentlemen. Bayley and Michin versus Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton. It was an okay tag match. I mean, there's not a ton to say about it, so I'll get right into it. I don't necessarily think, I think Nia Jax is going to take the title away from Bayley at SummerSlam. Her run has been mundane, But I think it'll inject some excitement into the women's championship picture if Bayley lost to Nia Jax and we constantly had a conniving Tiffany Stratton, always a threat to cash in on her friend, Nia Jax. And that's where I'm at with that. All right, y'all. So that's it for today's show. Next week, we'll be back in our regular setting, and I'll catch you guys for another episode of the Crimson Mass Show. Pro wrestling with an attitude.